Hello, welcome to 7 Minutes to Business Success. I'm Darlene Zebel. And in this episode, I'm going to talk about friendly fraud. If you're a small business owner who accepts credit cards, this is a subject you're going to need to know about. What is friendly fraud? Friendly fraud is the action of a customer buying a product or service using a credit card to pay for it, and then decide to file a credit card dispute or a chargeback to get their money back after they've received the product or the service. Now, what's a chargeback? I don't know, some of you may have never filed a chargeback, but credit card, your bank or whoever issued the credit card allows you to file a dispute if you feel your credit card was charged in error. So let's go through an example. Let's say, you bought something for $50, you didn't get the item, you were not refunded the money, you file a credit card dispute. However, 86% of all credit card chargebacks, some agencies and analysts who analyze this data estimate that 86% are friendly fraud. Well, what does that mean? That means if your customer got your product or service and then decided they don't want to pay for it, for whatever reason they changed their mind, instead of asking for a refund, or if they know they're not entitled to a refund, they'll just file a credit card dispute. Now, selling services, I sold services in my last business, and I had a lot of credit card chargebacks. It's so hard to prove that the customer received the service. And in most cases, I lost the dispute. Now, you as the merchant, if you get a credit card dispute, you're entitled to defend yourself with the credit card processing company that is processing the dispute. They're supposed to let you know that there's a dispute. They'll take the money out of your checking account or whatever account is tied to your credit card processing, and they'll also charge you fees. In some cases, I paid fees of $25 per chargeback. And then you have so many days to prove that your customer received your product or service, and you have to send all this documentation in. And at that time, this was a few years ago, I had to fax it in. They didn't even accept emails. They didn't, or snail mail, which was just horrible. One of the things I did, even though I was getting some chargebacks, I asked my attorneys to make sure the terms and conditions of my sales, the customers were aware what the ramifications were if they committed friendly fraud. I also checked to see how much proof I needed that my customers received their services. Now, we were doing selling online, and so we had 3 forms of verification. We had the online terms and conditions that were accepted. We had a telephone recording of the customer accepting the recording. And we also sent a copy of the bill and the invoice and the receipt to the customer's address. That's the billing address of the credit card, to prove that the customer card was not stolen. In all the years I did business, I never taken a stolen credit card from anybody or stolen identity of anybody. All my chargebacks were friendly fraud. So get a legal advice on the terms and conditions of your sales and what people are buying from you to make sure that you're covered for friendly fraud. Now, you're not going to win all of these chargebacks. If you're in a high risk industry for credit card processing, if you sell vaping, if you sell online psychic services, if you sell, I was selling travel online, those were considered high risk, which means most cases the merchant, you as the business owner, will lose the credit card dispute when you try and file a claim. Now, the merchant pays, you, the merchant, will pay for all the chargeback fees, which at that time I was paying $25 per chargeback. And if it got to a point where the bank wasn't sure who sided with the customer, and you feel that you were frauded, then you can go through an arbitration process. But arbitration was anywhere from $150 to $250 per chargeback. Now, these fees are decided upon by the companies that are processing these chargebacks on behalf of the credit card processors, on behalf of the banks who issue the credit cards. So you really don't know which of these fees you're going to pay until this happens. So you got to budget for it. You really have to be aware that this can happen. I have a funny story. I was in a lawyer's office for a different subject. It wasn't on credit card processing for one of my businesses. And I mentioned to him that I was struggling with trying to defend myself and defend my company so that I would win these chargebacks, because people decided if they just didn't like what they got, they filed a chargeback. And he told me a story where he, as an attorney, he had a small law firm, was starting to accept credit cards, and he received his first chargeback. And I thought that takes a lot of courage for somebody to file a chargeback against a lawyer who knows how to work the system and defend themselves. So I never found out if the lawyer won the dispute or not. But you, as a small business owner, have to know, if you're, especially if you're accepting credit cards over the phone, over the internet, that you're not physically swiping them. You're going to have a much better chance of not winning the chargeback. I hope this resonated with you. Talk to your attorneys, make sure that you're covered as much as you can. And please comment, share, like, subscribe. Let me know how things are going for you, what other topics you might be interested in learning about. And I look forward to seeing you again. Come back again soon. Bye now.